If you're looking to replay GTA 3 or play it for the very first time and you are wondering what the best way to play the game on PC is, then you've come to the right place. On this channel I help you get older games looking and playing their best by guiding you through the noise and getting to what matters. And what matters is what versions, mods, settings and emulators should you be utilizing to get the most definitive experience. A disclaimer before we start, this video is not a comprehensive comparison of all the versions that are playable on PC, but rather a concise yet detailed highlight on how you can refresh this title and get the best possible experience on modern hardware. What we'll be covering in this video is the PS2 release of GTA 3 running on the PCSX2 Emulator, as well as the original PC version of the game, and of course the definitive edition. All of these have different purposes depending on your preference, so we'll go into each version and why you should or should not use them. With all that out of the way, together, let's try and answer the question, what is the best way to play GTA 3? GTA 3 was originally made for the PS2, and since the PCSX2 emulator runs and looks great on PC, then this is a really valid option to play through the game. This game in particular does actually look slightly better on the original Xbox version, but the problem with that version is that the emulator for it is nowhere near as developed as the PS2 emulator, so we're going to be sticking with this as the best route to play the original. When you have the game running, you'll want to double click to see the options on top, and then you want to select game properties. Here you'll need to go into the patches tab and enable all the patches that you see here. One thing to note here is that the 60 FPS patch can be problematic and cause some stuttering. This was the case in my experience, so if you have some frame rate issues, the first thing I would do would be to disable this option and see if it fixes the issue. Outside of the game properties and into the general options of PCSX2, you'll also want to crank the internal resolution to something that you like the look of, but also that your PC can handle. I like to run all my PS2 games at 1440p, which is my monitor's resolution. Also set anisotropic filtering to 16 times, as not only does this make the textures look a little bit better, but it also doesn't really cost any performance. And after these tiny tweaks, you're pretty much ready to play the game. The PC port, which we'll get into, isn't super hard to get set up, but this is such a quick plug and play method that will let you play the game quickly, whilst also being one of the most authentic way of playing it on a modern PC. Speaking of, the original PC version of the game is for those that want a more modernized experience. Something that will offer better controls, frame rates and visuals. Similar to other GTA titles we have covered on this channel so far, the most annoying thing about this version is the availability. See, Rockstar delisted the original games from Steam when the definitive edition came out, so that means that we're going to have to find other ways to get a copy of the game. The first option would be the Rockstar Games Launcher. They sell the whole trilogy on there as a bundle. You can also buy a physical disc copy of the game really cheap on secondhand marketplaces. Then all you need to do is install it from the disc and get a no CD patch. All this patch does is stop Windows asking you to put the disc in every time you want to play. Of course, that's the easy part about this because a lot of you do not have disc readers in your PC nowadays. The other way to get your hands on a copy is through a Steam key, but the prices are pretty crazy here due to limited availability. Of course, there are other ways to get a copy of this game online, but we can't go through that information on this channel. When you do get a copy of the game, you'll want to mod it in order to A, fix a lot of issues with the port, and B, add back features that are missing to make it more definitive. The easiest way to get this version fixed is using the improved classic Modpack. If you're unsure about modding your games, then don't worry because this could not be simpler. Go to the Steam guide page that will be linked down in the description, click the download link, and then open the downloaded archive. Open the folder within this archive and then go to the main files folder, and then inside that you want to drag all of these files into where your GTA 3 files are. For Steam, that's easily done by right clicking the game and going browse local files. Then you just need to drag all the files from the archive into your game directory and say yes when prompted to overwrite. You can then just launch the game and start your playthrough. The powerful thing about this mod pack is that it's not changing or adding anything subjective. It's simply fixing what's broken in the original PC port and restoring lost content. For example, many of the high quality audio files are ripped from the PS2 version for this mod, and the better vehicle models and details from the original Xbox version are ported here as well. This makes the PC version a definitive collection of everything great about every port. The other amazing mod for this version is RE3, which is a project that reverse engineered the game. The problem with this is that Rockstar shut down this mod, so getting your hands on it is quite difficult. There will be a Steam guide that will be linked down in the description that helps you get a link for it using the Wayback Machine. You may get an error clicking this link like I did, but if you just click show all here, you'll be taken to a different page where you'll click the blue link that you see on screen here, and then you'll get a list of all of the archive download links for the mod. Clicking the top one on this list will just start the download straight away. Installing this mod is pretty much exactly the same as installing the improved classic mod pack. All you need to do is open the downloaded archive and then drag all these files into your GTA 3 installation. The only difference here is that you'll need to be now opening the game using re3.exe instead of GTA3.exe. If you're using a platform like Steam, then Steam is going to open that GTA3.exe, so all you need to do here is delete that .exe and rename the re3 one to GTA 3. Now when you open this game up, you can go into the options and see that this mod has added a ton of new things that you can change. The most notable ones being the aspect ratio. You can also change it to full screen or windowed mode, and it also supports the ability to adjust the anti-aliasing. Some other really cool features is being able to change the look of vehicles with the vehicle pipeline setting. MatFX is the PS2 look and Neo is the original Xbox version's look. This mod also adds a few quality of life features to the game, such as the ability to retry missions when you fail. GTA 3 is quite a difficult game without this feature, so if this matters to you, then this mod is the way to go. These are only a few of the things that this mod adds, as the mod's pretty extensive, so I highly recommend you check out Katsmakaru's video on this, as he goes quite more in depth. The last version I wanted to touch on very quickly is the definitive edition of the game. It's slowly grown on me over the past few videos, and similar to Vice City, I think it actually looks and plays pretty decent. I didn't want to totally neglect this version and ignore its existence, but I also don't want to talk about it much in this video because this video is about finding the best way to play the classic GTA 3 game, and this version strays way too far away from the original art style for me to fully recommend it. If you do go with it just out of easy access and availability, then I completely understand, and my only recommendation is that you make sure you utilize the classic lighting setting in order to get as close to the original look of the game as possible. With all these versions highlighted, let's try to answer that question that we asked at the start of the video. If your goal is to relive this classic title in the most pure way possible, then please go with the PS2 version running on the PCSX2 emulator. Whilst I personally prefer to play the PC version of these older games with mods and tweaks, I can't argue with the fact that if you want the original experience, then you have to play the original game, and this method offers that. Just be aware that choosing this method also means that you're going to get inferior performance and visuals due to this being an older title. You can't unfortunately change things like draw distance, so you're getting what you're given with this version. If however you are someone that wants the more modernized experience with all the modern comforts that PC brings, then I think RE3 is the way to go. It's so simple to set up and fixes most if not all the problems with the PC port. I think simple additions to the game like the mentioned retry missions feature makes this title way more accessible and less frustrating of an experience. Of course, if you went with emulation, then you'd have a similar feature here with save states, but this is such a seamless way of implementing this feature that if I hadn't known that it was added through this mod, I probably would have thought that it was base game. The improved classic mod pack is also great, and I don't think you could go wrong with picking that or the RE3 mod. Playing these two mods back to back, I felt that RE3 gave me a smoother experience, and alongside that we also get the extra settings that we can tinker with, and it also adds quality of life improvements on top of the fixes, and I think all of that gives it a slight edge over the improved classic mod pack. Between these two mods, which one do you prefer, improved classic or RE3? Please let me know in the comments. Up next on my radar is covering GTA 4, and then we'll move on to other games and types of videos, so if you have any suggestions then please let me know. If you are new here and enjoy retro gaming content, then maybe consider subscribing. If you want to support me further, then my Patreon is in the description, as well as the ability to become a YouTube member. You'll get cool perks like having early access to my videos, behind the scenes stuff, and a shout out at the end of each video. If you want to see my other best way to play videos, then I have one on San Andreas and also Vice City. I'll see you over there.